Your greatest weapon isn't your body, your money, your connections, or your circumstances. It's the thing sitting inside your skull right now, your mind. And the brutal truth is, most people never learn how to use it. They walk through life carrying the most powerful weapon in existence, completely unloaded. They wake up and immediately surrender their focus. They hand their attention to distractions, to noise, to endless scrolling, to opinions from people who have done nothing with their own lives. And slowly, without realizing it, their mind stops being a weapon and becomes a cage. Think about this carefully. Two people can live in the exact same environment, same city, same opportunities, same internet, same information. Yet one of them builds discipline, strength, purpose, and impact, while the other stays stuck, bitter, confused, and average. What's the difference? It's not luck, it's not talent, it's not even intelligence, it's control. Control over the mind. Because the mind you carry right now can either build your life or quietly destroy it. And most people let it destroy them in the softest way possible. Not through dramatic failure, but through comfortable mediocrity. They wake up tired. They avoid difficulty. They chase quick dopamine. They postpone their ambitions. And they tell themselves the same lie every day.
I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And before they realize it, years have passed and the strongest version of themselves never showed up.
The world doesn't fear weak bodies. It fears disciplined minds. A weak body can be trained. A poor person can become wealthy. But a weak mind? That's dangerous in the worst way because it sabotages every opportunity that appears. A weak mind negotiates with excuses. It says things like, I'm not ready. I don't feel motivated. What if I fail? What will people think? Listen carefully. Those thoughts are not protecting you. They are controlling you. Every time you obey them, you reinforce the identity of someone who hesitates, someone who delays, someone who watches life instead of participating in it. And the world has no shortage of watchers. Millions of people sit on the sidelines observing others build incredible lives while they remain stuck analyzing, doubting, and overthinking. That's what an untrained mind does. It creates noise. Endless noise. Doubt, fear, distraction, comparison. But a trained mind is different. A trained mind becomes sharp, focused, dangerous in the best way. Because once you master your mind, external obstacles lose their power. Rejection becomes feedback. Failure becomes instruction. Difficulty becomes training. Pain becomes fuel. That's when people start saying things like, "You're unstoppable." But what they're actually seeing is a person who stopped obeying weakness. And weakness speaks very softly. It whispers things that sound reasonable. Skip the workout today. Relax, you've done enough. You deserve a break. Start tomorrow. Weakness doesn't scream because if it did, you would recognize it immediately. Instead, it disguises itself as comfort. And comfort is addictive. Comfort feels safe. Comfort feels pleasant. Comfort feels deserved. But comfort is also the fastest way to kill your potential without even noticing. Look around at the modern world. People have unlimited entertainment, unlimited food, unlimited distraction, unlimited stimulation, yet at the same time they have record levels of anxiety, confusion, and lack of purpose. Why? Because their minds have never been trained to resist comfort. Imagine handing a powerful weapon to someone who has never practiced discipline. They would misuse it. They would hurt themselves. That's exactly what happens with the human mind. When the mind lacks structure, it becomes chaotic. It chases pleasure, avoids discomfort, and slowly erodes ambition. But when the mind is trained, something incredible happens. It stops reacting emotionally to everything. It starts acting intentionally. The disciplined mind wakes up when it doesn't feel like it. It moves when laziness appears. It focuses when distraction attacks. It executes when fear whispers. That's why disciplined people look different. Not physically at first, but mentally. They operate with a calm intensity that most people never develop. And here's the harsh truth many people avoid hearing. Nobody is coming to fix your mind for you. Not your friends, not your family, not some motivational video. The responsibility belongs to you. Every thought you entertain shapes your future. Every belief you repeat strengthens your identity. Every action you take builds momentum in one direction or another. There is no neutral ground. You are either training your mind or weakening it. You are either sharpening your focus or dulling it. Think about the version of yourself you secretly admire. The one who wakes up early, trains hard, studies deeply, speaks confidently, builds things, takes risks, and moves through life with purpose. That person is not born different. They simply refuse to let their mind stay undisciplined. They understood something most people never realize. Your mind is programmable. If you repeat weakness daily, weakness becomes your identity. If you repeat discipline daily, discipline becomes your identity. Your brain adapts to whatever you practice. That means the person you are today is the result of the thoughts and habits you practiced yesterday. That realization can be uncomfortable because it removes excuses. It means the distractions you indulge, the comfort you choose, the procrastination you repeat, all of it compounds into the life you're currently living. But here's the powerful side of that truth. It also means transformation is possible, right now. Not in theory, but in reality. You don't need to become perfect overnight. You need to start building mental authority over your own thoughts. When your mind says quit, you respond with action. When it says wait, you move forward. When it says this is too hard, you lean deeper into the challenge. That's how a weapon is forged. Steel becomes strong through heat, pressure, and repeated shaping. Your mind works the same way. Pressure creates strength. Difficulty builds endurance. Repetition builds mastery. But most people escape the forge. They avoid pressure. They run from difficulty. They stay inside environments where nothing challenges them. And then they wonder why their confidence never grows. Confidence is not built through comfort. It's built through confrontation with resistance. Every time you overcome something hard, your mind records evidence that you are capable. Over time, that evidence becomes belief, and belief becomes power. That's when your mind truly becomes a weapon. A weapon against distraction, a weapon against laziness, a weapon against fear, a weapon against the average life most people accept without question. Because average is not forced upon people. It's chosen slowly through small daily decisions. The decision to stay comfortable. The decision to delay growth. The decision to avoid responsibility. But the moment you decide to master your mind, something shifts. Your standards rise. Your focus sharpens. Your tolerance for weakness decreases. And people around you will notice. Some will respect it, others will feel threatened by it. Because disciplined individuals expose the excuses of those who refuse to change. But that's the cost of transformation. Growth separates you from the version of yourself that once felt normal. The real question is this: do you want your mind to control your life, or do you want to control your mind? Because the direction of your entire future depends on that answer. The real battle has never been outside you. It has always been inside your head. Most people spend their entire lives trying to change their environment while ignoring the one thing that actually controls everything: their mind. They believe if circumstances improve, they will finally become disciplined. If money increases, they will finally focus. If life becomes easier, they will finally take action. But the truth works in the opposite direction. The environment does not create the mind. The mind creates the environment. And if your mind is weak, it will sabotage every opportunity placed in front of you. Think about how many chances people receive in life. Access to knowledge, access to training, access to opportunity, access to examples of success everywhere they look. Yet most still remain stuck. Why? Because knowledge without mental control changes nothing. Information is everywhere, but discipline is rare. And discipline is what turns the mind into a weapon. The untrained mind reacts to everything. It reacts to stress, to opinions, to discomfort, to temporary emotions. One bad moment ruins an entire day. One criticism destroys motivation. One failure convinces them to quit. But a trained mind does not react like that. It observes, adjusts, and continues forward. That difference may look small from the outside, but over time it changes everything. Because life is not decided in dramatic moments. Life is decided in the quiet moments when nobody is watching. When you are tired but still continue. When you are discouraged but still take action. When doubt appears but you refuse to obey it. Those are the moments that sharpen the mind. And sharpening the mind requires resistance. That is something most people misunderstand. They think resistance is a problem. They think struggle means something is wrong. In reality, resistance is the training ground of mental strength. The gym builds the body through resistance. Life builds the mind through resistance. Without challenge, there is no growth. Without pressure, there is no strength. But the modern world has removed much of that pressure. Comfort is available everywhere. Distraction is available everywhere. And when the mind becomes addicted to comfort, it loses the ability to endure difficulty. That is why so many people start strong but never finish. They begin with excitement, but the moment the process becomes boring or uncomfortable, they disappear. The mind convinces them to stop. It says the goal is too far away. The work is too repetitive. The results are too slow. And because the mind has never been trained to endure discomfort, they obey those thoughts immediately. That is the moment weakness wins. Weakness does not defeat you through force. It defeats you through persuasion. It convinces you to stop just enough times that momentum disappears. Once momentum disappears, progress collapses. And when progress collapses, motivation disappears with it. That cycle traps people for years. But once you understand how the mind works, you can break that cycle. The first step is recognizing that your thoughts are not commands, they are suggestions. Your mind will constantly produce ideas about quitting, delaying, avoiding difficulty. That is normal. The difference between strong individuals and weak ones is not the absence of those thoughts. The difference is obedience. Weak individuals obey every negative thought that appears. Strong individuals question it. They ask themselves, is this thought helping me grow, or is it protecting my comfort? That question alone begins changing the relationship you have with your mind. Because the moment you stop obeying every impulse, you begin developing authority over your thinking. Authority creates control, and control creates power. Once you gain control over your mental responses, the outside world stops having the same influence over you. Rejection stops feeling personal. Failure stops feeling final. Criticism stops feeling destructive. Instead of reacting emotionally, you start evaluating things strategically. That shift is powerful because it turns obstacles into information. Every problem becomes a lesson instead of a reason to quit. That mindset alone separates people who build extraordinary lives from those who remain stuck in frustration. Look at any individual who has achieved something meaningful. Whether in business, sports, science, or leadership, you will see the same pattern. Their success did not come from perfect circumstances. It came from relentless mental endurance. They kept moving long after others stopped. They kept learning when others lost interest. They kept building when results were slow and invisible. The outside world often calls that talent or luck. But in reality, it is trained thinking. They trained their mind to operate differently from the majority. And you can do the same. But it requires something uncomfortable. Responsibility. Responsibility means you stop blaming circumstances. You stop blaming timing. You stop blaming other people. You accept that the direction of your life is primarily determined by your daily choices. That realization can feel heavy, but it is also liberating. Because if your actions created your current life, your actions can also transform it. The process is simple, but not easy. You begin by strengthening focus.
Focus is the ability to direct your mind toward a task and keep it there despite distraction. In the modern world, this skill has become extremely rare. Notifications, entertainment, and constant stimulation are fighting for your attention every second. Every time you give in to those distractions, your mind becomes weaker. But every time you resist them and stay focused on meaningful work, your mind becomes sharper. That is why deep work feels uncomfortable at first. Your brain has been trained to seek stimulation instead of concentration. Rebuilding focus takes time, but once you develop it, your productivity multiplies dramatically. The second step is building discipline through action. Discipline is not a feeling, it is a behavior repeated consistently. Waiting for motivation before acting is one of the biggest mistakes people make. Motivation appears after action, not before it. When you act despite not feeling ready, you prove to your mind that you are capable of controlling your behavior. That proof builds confidence. Over time, discipline becomes automatic because your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who executes. Identity transformation is the real goal of mental mastery. When your identity changes, your habits change naturally. The disciplined individual does not debate whether to work, train, or improve. They simply do it because it aligns with who they believe they are. That is when the mind truly becomes a weapon. Not because it produces intense emotions, but because it produces consistent action, and consistent action compounds. A single focused hour every day may not look impressive,
But over a year, it becomes hundreds of hours of improvement. Over 5 years, it becomes mastery. This is how extraordinary results are built quietly, while others remain stuck chasing short bursts of motivation.
The truth is simple. Your mind will either amplify your potential or suffocate it. If you allow comfort, distraction, and fear to dominate your thinking, your life will shrink to match those patterns. But if you train your mind to endure difficulty, maintain focus, and act with discipline, your life will expand beyond what you once thought possible. The weapon has always been there. The only question is whether you will finally learn to use it. The untrained mind constantly searches for reasons to stop. It magnifies discomfort and exaggerates difficulty. It tells you that rest is more important than growth, that safety is more important than progress, that staying the same is easier than becoming something greater. If you obey those thoughts long enough, they become your identity. And once weakness becomes identity, changing your life becomes extremely difficult. That is why mastering the mind must happen early and happen deliberately. You must decide that your thoughts do not control your actions. Your actions control your future. When you reach that understanding, a powerful shift occurs. You stop asking yourself how you feel and start asking what needs to be done. Feelings become secondary. Responsibility becomes primary. This mindset is rare, but it is the foundation of every strong individual you admire. When others slow down because they feel uncertain, disciplined individuals continue moving forward.
That consistency creates trust from others, respect from peers, and opportunities that rarely appear for people who remain inconsistent. But the greatest reward of mastering your mind is not external recognition.
The greatest reward is internal peace. When you know you are giving your best effort every day, doubt begins losing its influence over you. You stop wondering what your life could have been because you are actively building it. Regret disappears because you are using your potential instead of hiding from it. That feeling is powerful.
It replaces frustration with clarity and replaces hesitation with purpose.
Purpose is what makes discipline sustainable. When you have a clear reason for improving your mind and your life, difficult days stop feeling meaningless. They become part of the process. Every challenge becomes training for the person you are becoming. Every obstacle becomes proof that you are operating outside the comfort zone that keeps most people trapped. At that point, your mind truly becomes your greatest weapon. Not because it eliminates difficulty, but because it gives you the strength to face it without collapsing. It allows you to remain focused when others become distracted. It allows you to remain calm when others become emotional. It allows you to remain committed when others become inconsistent. Over time, those advantages compound into results that look extraordinary from the outside but feel completely natural to the person who built them. And that brings us to the final truth.
Your mind will always be under construction. Mastery is not a destination you reach once and then forget. It is a daily practice.
There will always be moments when laziness tries to return, when distraction tries to steal your attention, when doubt tries to weaken your confidence. The difference now is that you recognize those forces for what they are. They are not commands you must obey. They are tests. Every time you resist them, your mind becomes sharper. Every time you overcome them, your discipline grows stronger. Every time you continue despite them, your future expands. This is how a weapon is forged, not in comfort, but in resistance. Not in ease, but in pressure. Not through occasional effort, but through relentless consistency. The weapon has always been inside you. Your thoughts, your focus, your discipline, your decisions. The only thing that ever stood between you and your full potential was control over that weapon. Now the responsibility is clear. You can let your mind remain undisciplined and allow life to drift wherever circumstances push it. Or you can sharpen it, train it, and direct it toward a life built with intention. The moment you truly master your mind is the moment weakness loses its power over you. And when weakness loses its power, your potential finally becomes dangerous in the best possible way.